Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and he is Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, welcome back to another edition of the Blackshirt Breakdown. We have another Husker win to break down,
Right.
19-7 over the Northwest, or 17-9, excuse me, over the Northwestern Wildcats. The win moves the Huskers to 4-3 overall and 2-2 in the conference. Look at Nebraska with a 500 record against conference opponents. Jay, just before we get into it, how was your weekend? We talked about it a little off camera here, but it sounds like you got to do a pretty cool thing on over the weekend here.
Yeah, I only miss Nebraska games for special occasions, so it's generally family or a huge deal. So my dad, Chuck Foreman, obviously a famous football player, had the highest honor bestowed to him at the University of Miami Hurricanes. Him and Burgess Owen and Reuben Carter, my uncle Reuben Carter, were the first three African American athletes down there, football players in 1968, and then obviously my dad was an All-American, so forth and so on. He went into the Ring of Honor Saturday night, and when they played Clemson, so I was out of town and got to experience that. So that was a really good time. It was a special moment, but I was able to watch the Nebraska game beforehand and in the suite, so I was still doing what I needed to do, but definitely was not on the premises, but it was well worth it.
That's awesome that you got to experience that. That must have been really cool. But yeah, so let's just get into this Husker win here, 17-9. Jay, overall thoughts on the game? Obviously, it was another Husker game where the defense kind of shouldered the load. They did their thing.
Right.
Offense, not so much. I think they
Right.
maybe took a step back even out of the bye week. Maybe even if we're just like talking individual play, Heinrich Haarberg, we can talk about the quarterback play.
Sure.
8 of 17, 85 yards. He threw 2 picks. One of them was probably not his fault, but
Right.
also kind of responded well in the second half with that 44-yard touchdown pass to
Right.
Malachi Coleman, Coleman's first touchdown pass of his young career. But Jay, overall, what were your thoughts on the Huskers win over the Wildcats?
Right. I mean, again, it's like the Illinois game. An ugly win is better than an ugly loss or a pretty loss, and so I generally try to focus on that and to focus on what they did actually in the second half to kind of obviously seal the game. And so, I guess I would look at the offense probably had the same performance as they did in the fourth quarter, so maybe a little bit of fourth quarter hangover. And then the defense, continued along I call it carrying the pail of water uphill until the offense gets going. And Matt Rule said the same thing, but I think the biggest thing really is, the first play of the game, the ball was a little bit behind Thomas, and then
Yeah.
then maybe rushed the second one and locked in on him. But there was a couple drops as well, and so I think it was just experience. Look, this is Heinrich Haarberg's fifth game or sixth game.
Yes.
So he's pretty much a freshman out there playing. This is not making excuses for him. I mean, I'm just being honest. And so the one thing I was thinking though before it came on is I think Matt Rule's experience in the NFL is maybe will help this team, because generally you like to see continuity, right? If you look at a comparison, see Ohio State, you see McCord kind of just adding on every week, right? Whereas I think in the NFL it's a week by week league, right? So anybody can beat anybody anytime, and so that's what this is with this team, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that you have to have experienced head coach and coaches that are willing to deal with it. And coming off a bye week is a little bit hard for an inexperienced quarterback, and so you saw a little bit of that. But the best thing about it is he recovered, and then his best pass was the 44-yard pass to Malachi Coleman. The one thing I think about Heinrich Haarberg is he don't know what he don't know, right?
Yeah.
And what I like is he's going to keep going. And this is where I think the coaches, and I can't speak for him, but this is where they feel comfortable, is that he's going to keep coming at it and he's going to keep trying. And then, his last pass, when you look at it, when we break it down, we talked about in the week when we broke him down, big, wide, strong base on the money. And so I think he learned that, play by play generally and series by series. And that's why he's able to make plays late. And, obviously Nebraska was able to win.
Absolutely. So just before we get into some of these, our 4 plays that we brought with us today, the defense, just 13 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, 8 sacks. Principal Uman Mielen, the true freshman edge guy, 7 tackles, tied for a team high. Isaac Gifford, just the rover all over the place yet again, 7 tackles. Nash Hutmacher, 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks. Jay, like for an interior lineman to rack up those types of numbers, like how impressive is that to you?
It's good. I mean, that's what you want in this defense. You want to cause havoc in the run game and the pass game. And so, look, I think that really, I saw some stuff that were in that first series against Illinois. I felt like they just were a little off, right? Need to get out on the edge, and Illinois got the edge. You didn't see that this week, so that's improvement. And so when you improve on the little things, it leads to big things for a multitude of players. We play a lot of guys. You had number 90 Williams that come in, and they nickname him the sack man. I was trying to look on the roster and see what it is, but when you see why they call him the sack man, he's got probably the best get off out of all of them, so he can cause havoc. And so, Tony White, Terrence Knighton, Dvorak, Cooper, and obviously, the whole coach staff went to work and improved on what they need to improve on. So it was really good to see them do what they're supposed to do and do what they're supposed to do when they needed it most. And that's, I think, been the biggest difference. If you want to compare, to last year, where the defense, I think at times last year, and also maybe like 2 years ago when like JoJo Doma's there, they played good in spurts, right? When you needed them to make a play or needed them for a quarter to really kind of, stop the tidal wave, they weren't able to do it. These guys have been able to answer the bell every time, and that's why they've had success this year.
Let's get into some of these plays. Let's start off with the Polar Bear, Nash Hutmacher. I believe this is his first sack or his second one. I don't remember, but first quarter, 8:43 on the clock, 2nd and 18. And Tony White kind of puts 5 bodies up there at the line of scrimmage and drops 1 and sends 4. But Jay, what did you see here from Nash?
Well, this is good. You put 5 guys up there to make them account for everybody, get some one-on-ones, and then what you see with Nash right here, look at the get-off. I mean, obviously I know we're in a little bit, faster speed, but this is way different than he was last year. I mean, for him to be able to get on the edge and know where he's going, look at the get-off, right? So he's getting off a lot more with good pad level, right? And just kind of a bull rush and kind of slipped on the edge of the center because he starts over in the opposite A-gap. And then he crosses his face, right? So it's a bull rush right there. Look at the knockback right there.
Yeah, his head knocked back.
And then he kind of comes with an underneath rip, and he gets him on him. And Nash is powerful enough and strong enough that he can carry that guy back. And then you get him for a huge loss and a sack for Nash. And that's not one where you said in the first game where he went on block. He went through somebody. And right, Northwestern has been struggling up front. Yep. And so you like these guys making them move their feet and, obviously creating penetration. And you see it, not only him, but you see Jamari Butler here too, right? It must have been something where they're trying to cross face and rip across guys because Nash is coming inside saying what. But I like it that they're doing the same things, right? And you got Luke Reimer outside kind of containing and saying with Ty, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that's really different is the discipline in rushing the passer in the lanes, right? In the rush lanes. So even if they're not getting sacks, you're able to affect the pass and you allow the guys in the back to cover. You're allowing the inside linebackers to get good depth on your drop. You're able to have guys and eyes on the backfield if there was a screen, and you're able to allow them to really communicate and not be in a rush because if Nash didn't get him, Jamari was getting him. And look at the contain right there by the 2 guys. And so that's what you want. And that's what has really helped out this defense this year in particular. That's allowed Nash, because of his hard work and accepting the coaching of Terrence Knighton and the scheme, be a way more effective player than he had been in the past. And so he worked that in the offseason, right? And then you're seeing the payoff right now where it's been the consistent play. There's every game I think Nash has done something really well from the first game and always every week. And so sometimes people that are just kind of, I guess, I don't know if you call them pessimists, they'd be like, oh, okay, well, he did it a couple games, then he's gone, right? He's been effective every single game, regardless of the stat sheet or not. And so it's always good for him to get the payoff right there with 2 sacks on a game that Nebraska needed to have at home after bye week.
Yeah, we're filming this on a Monday morning, and the Big Ten weekly awards haven't come out, and I know Nash probably doesn't care about this, but I'd be interested to see if he was a player of the week in the Big Ten on defense. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they have all. I mean, him and Gifford, they're active, and that's what they're supposed to do. And the coaches put them in position, but the players are making the plays. And so, as you look at this right here, it's just another just another play of these guys doing what they needed to do. And it's a really good, play right here by Isaac Gifford, right? So here's where he's at, right? And this is where, Tony White knows his personnel. This is the hardest drop for in this defense, he's mugging up like he's a linebacker. So I think Nick Heinrich might have been a little banged up. So Isaac Gifford is a jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife. So you put him up there and you get speed on third down. Now he's dropping off of that running back. Now this is the perfect play for this, right? You see 66 or 65 holding him. So now Isaac has to get to his job, right? His job is contained because he's dropping off of there, right? He wanted to get a clean drop. That's technically a holding right there. But now he's got to get out there and contain it. Now look what he does. He's a smart football player, right? He gets on the edge. Look how he's low and ripping across. He knows what he's doing, ripping across, right? And then he squares up, and by his effort, technique, and know-how, he's able to make a huge play on 3rd and 10, because if he didn't make that tackle, possibly that could be a first down. Now, look, granted, with this defense here and the way they've been playing, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys around him, but it was a huge play right here. I mean, this is a hard play right here, and you couldn't have faulted him if he couldn't have made it, because they had 2-on-1, and he got held a little bit. And, was it egregious hold? No, but it was enough to stop him getting out there. But his effort was there, the good rally to the ball, and the angles there. And you even saw Jamari Butler there tried to rip the ball out right there. So the attention of what you're doing is huge. And look at the reaction of the coaches, right?
Oh, they loved it.
Look at Tony White.
Yeah,
right.
Tony
But
White.
look at it. But you want to know why? Because look who they had coming out of the stack, right? Terrence Knight saw Sherman coming out of the stack, Big Nash. There's Sanford. There's Jamari Butler, but Gifford was able to get, and then you had the 2 other guys that came out of the stack first, come and get him. And now look at the coaches.
They're all pointing at him. I love that they're pointing at him.
Right. But they're like, they knew
Cooper
Isaac
comes
Gifford.
in.
Right. They knew Isaac Gifford. That's a huge play right there. I wouldn't say a game-saving play, but they could extend their drive and get some confidence. You're only up by 4. You want to get the ball back to your offense as much as possible. And they have to punt, right? I doubt they would have went forward on 4th down, but that would have probably been a first down. Let's be honest, because if Gifford didn't get out there and they were able to seal the edge, that's a first down, regardless of who came out of the stack. So they knew in that play. Sometimes defensive coordinators will call a play, and there's a technique which you're mugging right here, which puts a player in a not impossible position, but in a hard position to make, to do it, right? He's dropping off a number 4, right? This is great right here. He's dropping off number 4, so he needed to be out there right then. Well, in order for the blitz to be so you could dictate the blocking assignments of the offensive line, you needed Isaac up there. He has to engage a little bit, get one-on-one blocks, right? So this is what I don't know if Tony White, got with Charlie McBride, but this is what we used to do right here, right?
Yeah.
See, look at that, right? You get all the gaps are filled, the little slip screen right there. So, and then and it's good job by Bullock right there. Now, you could have either stayed with him and got the play, but maybe they're taught that, you keep going, right? So I don't know the intricacies of the defense, but all I know is Isaac Gifford made a heck of a play right here. Look at that, defeating 2 blocks, right? I don't know. And then he's making the tackle on a pretty decent back right here. This has been their starting running back for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was a Cam Porter. And he gave Nebraska fits last there. And look at that, a great tackle. Then the rally there, right?
Oh yeah, they're swarming.
Right. This is a teaching tape right there, right, of what they need to do. And that's why you saw every level of the coaches give him his props. And so this defense, I would say this before we get into Jamari Butler, this defense has allowed the guys play to their strengths, right? Jamari Butler's been a guy I've been kind of advocating for because I know what he could do.
Yeah.
And, in this play right here, you got number 90 in here, right? My man, the sack man, but he's
James
also
Williams.
next to but he's next to the real sack man, right? This is how you take it. And you know what this is, Steve?
Yeah.
If you remember when the Giants played the Patriots in the last time in the Super Bowl, they had their, I think, NASCAR rush guys where they took Justin Tuck and moved them inside, sometimes Strahan. They have OCM and Yura, and then they had a regular defensive tackle in there, and they were giving the Patriot fits, right? Well, this is no different than right here, right? You got a defensive end that's strong enough to handle it. It's a passing down 3rd and 8, but he's going to beat him by quickness. Watch this right here. Watch the get off and the problems that you cause right here, right? right? Good slap and rip right there. Get tight, and then you get the sack, right? I'm sure Jamari wants a sack solo, but look right here. Get off, right? You look and get to the outside arm right here. It gets him, and it is right here. Rip, and you get tight. See how he drops the shoulder and just leans into him?
Yeah.
See, the pass rushers don't understand you're not going to beat guys clean, right? So James Harrison from the Steelers, probably borderline Hall of Famer, he for his height deficiency just would lean into the lineman and they couldn't block him.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, Jamari Butler had the slap and rip and then just leaned into him. And then the offensive lineman, if you watch it here, just kind of took it to him, right? Couldn't watch this when he gets tight and leans into him, right? He gets that right arm. Now he leans under, kind of rip under. Now look at the lean right there, right? How he's able to still keep his shoulders there, kind of square and going there. And the length of Jamari Butler and leaning into him allows him to kind of let the offensive lineman ride him into the quarterback, and he's able to grab him, right? So if you try to be too high, he'll be able to push you past the pocket. So I think Terrence Knight in the details of rushing the passer from his experience, watch this right here, right? Watch this right here. He knows exactly what he's doing. Getting up, right? Outside arm, right? Kind of slapping, now look how he drops it right there. He probably needed to rip it, but then he goes, right? Look at the counter right there. He got it in there. And once that left arm is on his left arm, that guy's dead in the water. 68 is dead in the water. And see, he couldn't do anything. And it was a really good intricacy of technique that you could see with that angle right there, right? Go back to this, right? He wanted to get the first rip, right? So he comes with the slap, right? Right there. Swim. Then he wants to get it under there, right? Now look where the right arm is there. So what do you do? Still be active with your hands. Eyes on the quarterback. Gets it in there underneath him. And it allows him to get home and get this sack. And you have Nash there kind of two-gapping this guy there and brought him down to his knees right there and got in on another sack. And then you got the sack man getting in there and getting a couple hits too. So, I mean, look, this is what you want. This is what you need to do against a team like Northwestern. It's not going to be like this every week. But when you have good coverage in the back end and guys know what they're doing, you're coming out of the bye week, right? Working on the little things and getting better at, getting to the passer. This is what the result of it. And then
so that sack by Jamari Butler set up a Northwestern punt. Wasn't a great punt. Nebraska's offense got the ball in prime position and they took a shot and it paid off.
Right. This is what you want right here, right? This is complimentary football. Defense sets it up.
Yeah.
Special teams gets the ball right here. Play action pass. Hey, this is it. Holla at your boy, right? He's got deep speed. You got the speed advantage. Might have been a busted coverage, but it was just a reality. Number 9 got caught looking. Hey, and Malachi Coleman left him cooking. And so that's what happens right there. I mean, look, this take a shot area. You have no reason not to hold it down. Let's go for the dagger in the heart, right? 10-6, 14 minutes, right? No onside kick this time. Now we're going deep, right? This is where there's a time that you put the dagger in the heart after a huge defensive stop, bad punt. Everybody has a loser's lean. They're on their heels. Look at this right here. Look, number 9 ain't ready to play. I don't know what the safety looking at. If they're trying to, I think they're inside out coverage in here, right? So the safety should be back right here. He's looking at Malachi right here. And I think the corner is trying to read the quarterback. Yep, that's what he's doing. So they had a little bit of a kind of a cover 2 look right there.
Yep.
Where you switch responsibilities, and it could have been a cover 3 or whatever they're doing. And the corner didn't jam, right? And then the safety, if you're in a cover 2, you just don't get beat inside like that. So it's the perfect call for their coverage. And you got them looking back right there. And once you look back, you're done. And so it was a great pass, great execution. But let's go back to Heinrich Harburg, who obviously didn't start the game, is the way he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the difference between this right here, right? You kind of, it's kind of like a little belly option, kind of,
So after the game, Matt Rule called it a belly G option pass, and
right,
after he's the one that said I think Tom Osborne after Malachi caught it for a touchdown, he pointed up at Tom Osborne's press box where he watches the games, and apparently Tom Osborne was the one that
I've seen this plenty of times right here, right? And but look how big and strong he is in the pocket right here. It's clean pocket, good footwork. If you go back, look at his footwork, right? It's like a gallop step for an outfielder about to throw it home. Watch this right here. This is how you throw deep passes right here. It's all rhythm, right? Good read right here. Good gets out underneath the center good. great play action pass, right? Good job by the offensive line, kind of muddying it up, right? Kind of keeping the eyes of the second level. Now you're up in the third level. Look at that right there. Big, clean pocket, step up, and just throw it, throw it on time and on target. And then Malachi Coleman, really good job of tracking the deep ball. First touchdown, first start. He needs to, wanted him to provide a deep threat and be explosive. That's got to be a huge confidence booster to him right at home, and how far he's came. But then also for the coaching staff and obviously Heinrich Harburg, right, to make this play under pressure that you needed. How many times has Nebraska in the past have had deep shots, with other players that almost was there, it was just off. If we would have caught that, well, I mean, this is what you got to give them credit for doing what they needed to do. And I'm not going to take anything away from them. So it's not the prettiest win. Obviously, out of the bye week, you like to hang a 40 burger on them.
Yeah.
But you expect Northwestern to give you their best, shot. And they had a safety net there also, a big 44 and kind of a, they used to call it an old crap screen, right? A high screen. And so you have, 3 levels. Look at, and really it's a 3-level route. You see Bullock coming over, 44 short, and then Coleman, deep. And so you're putting a lot of stress on the boundary side of that defense when you're running belly option away from them. So you're trying to play on bad eyes, bad technique, by the corner. The corner should have got a better jam. Safety should never get beat deep. Nothing cheap, nothing deep, and that's a double minus for him. Bad read, bad technique, bad execution. So Nebraska took advantage of what they needed to. It was a good play call and even better execution. So you're happy for Malachi Coleman, first touchdown, huge play, right? Game winning play. And you know what? You can say that it gives Marcus Satterfield, the play caller, more confidence to call that when the defense is playing well. And it's definitely giving him more confidence when the momentum is on Nebraska's side after that huge sack, right, by Jamari Butler. So you said, the defense set it up and the offense took advantage of it. And that was, the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And that was early in the fourth quarter. So also, before we get off, it's a really good sign that Nebraska got that play. Defense came out, shut the door again. How many times, and this is across college football and even the pros, big play happens on offense. The defense comes out and relaxes and thinks the game's over. And then next thing you know, the opposing offense kind of walks the ball down the field or something. So the growth is in the little things, and you have to look at the game differently. And that's why I say it's a week-to-week type of deal. But in the last 2 weeks, Nebraska was able to eke out some ugly victories. And to be honest with you, they were ugly victories, but they were both teams that I felt like they should have beat, and they did. But they had control of the game, even though it wasn't starting like they wanted, or you know what I'm saying? And Illinois didn't finish like they wanted, and Northwestern didn't start like they wanted, but they definitely had control of it, and it was led by the defense both games.
Nebraska still very much alive in that Big Ten West race, if you want to call it a race. There's not a lot of good football being played, but that's how it goes. And Nebraska is squarely in the hunt right now. And they have a 2-5 Purdue team coming to Lincoln next week for a 2:30 game. Purdue, last time they were out there, I think they'll be coming off a bye week. Last time they were on the field was a 41-7 loss to Ohio State, and then before that was a 20-14 loss at Iowa. So Purdue is going to want to be looking to get right with the new staff and everything over there. Hudson Card at quarterback. Jay, first initial thoughts on the Purdue game?
Yeah, I mean, Hudson Card is, he's put up some decent stats, and he's actually more of a running threat than, people would think. So, you just got to, continue along the way you've been playing. I mean, the defense I think this defense is tailor-made for Purdue, as far as the schematics and getting guys, and you have some, guys that can, make up for some deficiencies. And so, Nebraska has a ton of body types and guys that can affect both the pass and the run. So they got to do it. They got to, first of all, they got to get some payback against Purdue. If I'm Tony White, I'm throwing the tape on from last year for a little bit. It's different, but I'm saying, listen, man, these dudes, had their way with us last year at times, and we need some get back. You got to do well against Huckabee because he's a legit running back. So we got to swarm and stop him, and then we got to punish the quarterback, and then the offense should be able to establish the run, and we just got to continue to work in the passing game. And guys got to step up. Ethan Piper is out. I don't know how long, or he at least left the game.
Yep.
So, Jenkins or Lutovsky, they got to step up. There is no time for this is the 6th or 7th game of the season. This is time to step up and go for the win. And it's a great opportunity for Nebraska. It's going to be tough again, and they're going to be motivated. So they have the ability to see what Nebraska doesn't do well or didn't do well in their last few games. But also Purdue has a lot to correct themselves. So it's not like you're playing Ohio State and they're coming in here like a well-oiled machine. So it's a great opportunity, and I look forward to taking advantage of it.
Excellent stuff as always, Jay. So that was fun. Let's do it again next weekend, and we will. So for Jay Foreman, I am Steve Marik, and that was a Blackshirt breakdown, Northwestern style. We will catch y'all later.